Hi everyone, welcome. I know that you got to spend time with Melissa and Kelly last week. Fantastic. She will be with us shortly. I hope everyone has enjoyed their week. For me, it's been interesting, right? Yeah. For all of us, I'm sure. And quarantine life is coming in. Well, let's just say oil treatments on the hair, all that fun stuff, right? Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Hanging in there.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
hectic, of
It's
course.
yeah, it's very interesting, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very interesting. Best to, if in my opinion, stay away from the news, right? Just because
Right?
there's so much information out there, and
Mm-hmm.
you really have to be able to discern truth as it
Mm-hmm.
relates to you personally.
Yep. Good
And
filters.
those filters for sure. I just said I was like, it's really interesting listening to people because I've got a good old oil treatment going on in my hair, right?
Yeah, I don't know what mine's doing, so I just gave
Yeah,
up. I'm just
like I
glad
was
to be
like,
here.
yeah. I'm like, okay, let's do that. Like at home. A lot of people now eating at home, right? Doing
Oh, yeah.
puzzles, all of that
Hmm.
fun
Well,
stuff.
you know what? We do so much outdoor stuff in Florida that
Hmm.
we've never seen whole families on the path and doing things together. So
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great.
I do. I think that's fantastic too. I know that for here they blocked off some of that stuff though, right? Because there were
Hmm.
so many people going out, and with the
Okay.
social
We have
distancing,
so
right?
many
You
that
weren't
they
really
are doing
getting
pretty
that.
good. So far, so good, anyway.
Uh-oh, the connection's a little bit wonky. So maybe 1 second.
You
Um,
you came right back.
you're there. You go. Yeah. So that part's been interesting, but at least people are getting outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of people that have been contacting me. I wanted to say thank you to those people who have taken advantage of the Instagram special. I have the Astro Tarot reading for $25 off for just my IG people.
Yeah.
And so people are contacting me, and what's happening is if you had a certain kind of job that was hands-on, like massage therapists and,
Yeah.
body workers and the gym and everything else. I mean, the gyms are converting to online pretty easily, but
Uh-huh.
a lot of in-person stuff is not converting. And so people are questioning their purpose and
Hmm.
wondering, after all these years of pursuing whatever they were pursuing for whatever reasons, which made perfect sense,
Yeah.
when you're alone with your thoughts and everything's quieted down and we have more space to consider and you don't actually have to go to that place every day, you
Yes.
start to think and question, what you're here for and why are you here? And is it just to be on the hamster wheel or not? So I
Or not.
think that
Yeah.
awakening is happening for a lot of people. I'm sorry for the economy piece of it, because it usually, of course, everything always hurts the underprivileged more than anyone else. And
Yeah.
so we are privileged to be able to get out and get on a kayak and get away from all humans.
That's
What
right.
I laugh about is I've been social distancing all along.
I know. I actually kind of like
Most people
myself.
know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know?
And so the hermits are loving it. I mean, all my hermits are like, I love this. This is great. I'm paying attention to nature, the animals and things.
Mhm.
The birds and the fish seem happier, but I did have a disoriented duck this morning that was not cool. She was a mama with 3 babies by the grocery store, and I don't know how they got off track. I
Yeah.
don't know
I have
So,
noticed some of that also with the animals and out at
mm-hmm,
different times, right? And I was like, oh,
mm-hmm.
this is interesting. And they're definitely feeling the shifts too, right?
Right, right.
Um,
So
so
I
that
think
is, yeah.
they're so used to following our rhythm that
Hmm.
it is affecting the locals, let's just say.
Yeah. It's
It's
also
all local.
even the hermits, right,
Hmm.
are really feeling the vibe of the collective
Hmm.
for sure, right?
Hmm.
And also when it feels like that choice is taken away,
Hello, good
right?
morning. That's my
Yeah,
issue.
yeah,
I love my cave until I don't have a choice. And
that's right.
that's
Until,
really what bugs me for sure.
until someone slams that door and says you can't go, right?
Hmm.
The other thing is it's really creating an opportunity for people to, like, I'm thinking of a massage therapist, right?
Hmm.
Where you could actually teach people how to heal themselves,
That's it. That's what
right?
I mean. There's going to be a
Like you
lot
can
of.
show them the pressure points on your feet and your
Hmm.
hands and what we can do in our body for ourselves.
Exactly.
And not create that codependent relationship. And don't get me wrong, I'm still going to get a massage.
Thank
right?
you. I know that's right.
Right. But also
For real.
being able to know how to do that
Yes.
if I'm out and about
Yes.
somewhere and need to do that myself. Right.
Absolutely. Or cut off for a little while and
Yeah.
in, you know, in another zone for a little bit. So
For like
yeah, I'm
another
using
6 weeks, right?
Mhm. Well, that's what I'm hearing is that all of
Mhm.
April, just prepare to be here like this. So I've been thinking about that because, of course, everybody keeps saying 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. But, you know, if 3 months go by, how do you really, what am I getting accomplished? You know, I'm on a creative role, so I'm having a
Yeah.
good time too, interspersed with readings and checking in with people trying to figure out their lives. Has been really good. And this is what happened at September 11th for me as well. You know, I thought I was going to crash and burn and go out the door, but really people wanted more tools and practices and a different story to tell, a different way of getting in. So this week's energy in particular is packed with initiations. So we are in a place of amplified power this week. So that's the other reason to stay positive and stay on point with what you are creating, what you do want. All of my meditations, which I haven't gotten to do as many as I'd like, have been telling me that you need to plan for what's on the other side of this. What kind of regular routine are you going to go back to? Are people going to fall right back asleep into the hamster wheel and do the same old, or are they going to really adjust and adapt and change? And the planets support us. I mean, when it comes to being independent and doing your self-healing, self-education, and self-transformation, that's Chiron, and Chiron's in Aries for basically the next 8 or 10 years. So we have a zone stretching out that affects everyone, but it's also a rebirth for the people born 67 to 77, basically.
Yeah.
So that little zone, right, that's us. We're having what's called the Chiron return. But it's the point, and everybody gets, you know, I might have said this in the beginning of one of our calls, but I focus on cycles and patterns. That's my gig. So anyone that's curious about where you're at right now, that's what we check in with the readings. And then we do a tarot to really go deeper. But there's things that happen to everyone around 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then it kind of jumps to 72, 74. So we have these ages and stages in each decade that are dedicated to different principles. And 20s and 40s are very freedom oriented and figuring out, you know, how to be free and be responsible at the same time. And 30s and 60s are a little more responsibility. It's just more about responsibility. In 30s, we finally realize you got to take care of yourself. And at 60s, you realize you've got to take care of your retirement somehow. So it's the 50s is the healing zone. So the 50s is this liberation, small window of 10 years that we get to play with before it shifts back to responsibility. So I joke with my people, like 40s, your second chance at 20, 60s, your second chance at 30. So 50s, your second chance at 25. And at 25, I was deciding to go all the way in on fitness because at that time it was the early 90s and women's fitness was getting more popular and they were finally making closer money. Yes. Anyone who knows me, and I got my district t-shirt on, I'm just a girl. So anyone who knows I'm a district girl. So yes, it's all circling back is my point. And that if I had been a little more committed and disciplined at 25, which I was not, at 50, I am. So I think it'll stick this time, you know. Plus, I'm not thinking about being in shape to be cute, but I'm thinking about what I can sustain day to day on my way out of here. Because I'm past halftime here.
And the cool part about that happening right now for you and I mean, I've always been fairly physically active and right, just my lifestyle is that way. And the business I'm in. But now with this staying home or quarantine, and I know that Melissa and I have talked about this, we've done videos for people, right? And also just getting back to the basics of cooking nutrient dense foods for yourself, right? Yeah, and sometimes having to be creative in that because you go to the market and maybe there's no eggs, right?
Dig it.
There's this. And people are starting, I hear more and more people planting gardens, right? Like
Oh, that's gonna boom. I
but
know. The urban gardener is gonna blow up.
that's right, right? And it's like, wow, the planets are really helping support us, right? The
Yes.
gods, like
Yes.
everybody
Yes.
is. And so we can't focus on just this drama, and it is painful and it
It
is
is. It's
challenging,
hard.
right?
It's you don't want to be unaware, but I tell
No.
people, need to know basis.
Yes.
Know your rules in your state, in your city, in your county,
But
and
then,
go from
yeah,
there.
yes.
Because then this is a gift, everyone, because I have counseled many, many mothers, divorcees, people who were used to having people to focus on that get to be alone for 5 minutes and don't know what to do. Let me tell you, it's not permanent.
No, it's not. It is not.
So you want to enjoy it while you got it. And guilt-free, shame-free, none of this monkey mind madness about what you should be doing. Go into your heart and ask what your heart wants to be doing, and what is sustainable, what is going to work on the backside of this, and where did you find out that there's cracks in your foundation or ways that you can't really survive if you get taken out of this one income stream. That's why we always talk about multiple streams of income. Even for me, I have readings, calls, and membership. That's 3 different income streams that all have their own rhythm. And so when one's up, one's down, it just is like that. But I can't lose my mind over it. You know what I mean? So I have to have backup to the backup.
And so when some people are losing their mind, take a deep breath, right?
Right,
and really, I mean, I like to really connect with the body too, because it's our little conduit, right? And so if it's got blockages in it and all this stuff, we might not be able to discern the information as well, right?
Right, totally.
Flow.
Well, and this is the first time for a lot of people.
That's right.
So it's all new and unknown and weird and uncomfortable. So I try to get people to push past the discomfort to not make it wrong immediately. That's like your cold showers, like the guy was saying, you incrementally grow with that. But if you just push past it, and then my husband's watching all this survival stuff. So it's the same thing with the cold water. People who can hold their breath and go underwater, that first splash in the cold, your body does freak out. So if we condition ourselves to this, it gets easier and easier. And that's why the SEAL training and everybody else that does it for military or whatever, they can do that. But it takes time to grow into that. Yeah. And so that's going to be the same thing with this new order, because our order's out the window, which means you can create one. And I love that. That's my gig. But
some of us, if we had one stream of income, right, are kind of being really forced to, there might be a little pressure on you to tap into that creative side of you, and maybe where your true self really wants to be in alignment as opposed to what you think you should be doing.
Right. Totally. And see, with this week of initiations, I want people focused on what they're calling in. Like I said, what's on the other side of this? We know what's dead and over. We know what's never going back. We know that these little breaks have now given mother a way to recuperate so fast. Oh my God.
So I've had multiple people, and I'm sure you've heard this, that would say they're driving down the road or walking, and how everything just looks brighter and crisper, and the greens are greener, right? And it's pretty cool, actually.
I love it. So I've been clowning in a no-fly day once a month. And one day a month, I think all planes worldwide should shut it down. That gives them 53 days left to do their thing. So I think that might come out of it too, where people realize, and especially Americans, where we are privileged and used to having certain things so easy and being so mobile. Like, I think the mobility is going to get limited after this. This is going to get tricky going state to state now. But at the same time, we are spoiled. And so we have to learn how to do more with less and do better at adapting when we are confined or restricted in any way, because we all buck, this is the freedom USA, right? It's all about being free, but you can't be free if you can't be responsible, period. Well, that's how that rolls.
That's right. You are personally responsible for yourself, but are you really free? Have you really been
right? Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Go deep into that for just a little bit. And
believe that.
How have you been free?
Thank you.
And I mean,
define free. Define it for yourself.
Right. See what that is. I was going to say something about I don't know about you, but I know for me that I have, some by choice, some not by choice, have put myself in situations or
Oh
gotten
yeah.
myself, but I will say I'm responsible for those situations. 100%.
Own it. I own it too.
Uh,
Here we are.
where that pressure, right? Where I've gone into that pressure and had that pressure on me, and the growth that has come out of that. So if we can look at this time period as not only being supported by the planetary alignments and the gods and goddesses, right, and just Earth underneath.
Thank you. I know.
Right?
That's a big one. Reconnecting with Earth is what this is going to do for a lot of people that weren't doing it enough.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, y'all. If we lose connection to the Earth, we die anyway. So if you don't, these people who have been in virtual reality or on their machines or in front of their screens and not talking to the trees or under the sky, they've got to know that's the only way to survive. Our bodies are wired to the Earth. They're not wired for Mars. Okay. They're not wired for Mars. So dude can fly up there on his own and take whatever 250,000 volunteers he's got. But the rest of us have to stay here and function. And that part hasn't changed. Like technology's blown up, but we're still physically, DNA wise, basically the same.
And she is an active part of this. And we should really respect that and pay attention to that. You know?
And take your power back, take your control back for your own health and well-being. You know, yes, our healthcare sucks, but now what? What does that mean? You go without completely? You just give up?
It can be bad. It can be equal growth.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Let's not make it wrong because you're uncomfortable.
That's right.
Let's say, what is this? Let's explore. And what is it good for? That's Kelly's question. You know, what is it good for?
What you heard last night, I think I wasn't in the webinar. I was helping people. Actually, I had met with a couple people. Otherwise, I would have been there. I was bummed. I was a little bit late getting on. Actually, I could hear the last 15 minutes. But I know that Peter shared, and I can say his name because he said so. But I think for 6 months, I was like, "Come on, do a cold shower, dude. Like you'll really love it, right?"
And he testified last night. I love it.
Yes, and just yes, it's uncomfortable for a few seconds, right? But then how amazing he feels, and his central nervous system, which right now, you guys, your ANS and CNS, you want your body, your autonomic nervous system and your central nervous system on point right now.
Yes.
And that's
anything we can do.
That's right.
And,
anything we can do. And it take, start with 1 minute, but that 1 minute of uncomfortableness.
It does something for your body. That's right.
Yeah. And information, everything,
And that's the thing. We want things communicating inside so that we can follow our bodies and follow our intuition on which direction to go now, because we don't have the normal pointers, we don't have the normal guideposts. So now what do we do?
You're going to talk about this week, but I'm going to throw it out there for anyone listening to maybe share some things they've added in to their daily routines during this quarantine
coping mechanisms. What's working
out, or what you're effing pissed off about, right?
That too. Okay.
Right? It's okay. That's all right. And the benefit that you see out of these things, right?
Right.
And if we can get past not only the collective fear, and there's some legitimate things to be concerned about. And that, right?
But rage to outrage. Rage is paralyzing and breaks you down, but outrage is mobilizing. It makes you want to do something.
That's right.
So let's channel that. Yeah, we're angry. Yeah, it's screwed up. It's not cool. But this is also a zone, which we've been talking about all along for the beginning of the year, is how we're shifting from Capricorn to Aquarius.
Yes.
So we're shifting from the global elite and the 1% running things and all the institutions that have been built, especially in America, have run their course. They don't serve the people, the numbers that we have, or the way that we're set up in cities. They don't work anymore. So now it's shifting to Aquarius, which is humanity, meaning we take it up in our own communities, little by little, one by one, smaller gardens, smaller groups, and do what we can ourselves, because we can't rely on them right now.
I'm going to share a little bit, and because of the nature of the work that we've done, Kelly, for years, right? We've been talking about this shift for a very long time.
Yes. And here it is. This is what it looks like.
This is part of what it looks like.
Right.
Part of what it looks like, right? And yes, those things, again, like I said, are uncomfortable, but there's a huge growth in it. And know that we have been supported all along with it.
All along.
Even though it can feel right now that maybe that's not the case, trust in that, so that you can see and discern what's coming up for you on the other side of this,
Right.
right?
That's what I
And this
mean.
is going to be, we've chatted about this for a long time, but
Mm-hmm.
this year is a
Pivot
big,
point. It's an
yeah,
initiation. And
it
so
is.
initiations are always unknown because
Mm-hmm.
it's the new beginning. It's the 0 point. So you have what you've learned. You have your own education and earned wisdom.
Yeah.
You have your experience of the last 1 to 5 years. And so I've talked about this too. The underlying theme for the whole year is recalibrating your masculine feminine.
Yeah.
So Venus and Mars are going backwards this year, and they don't always go in the same year because they have different cycles. So it
Yeah.
takes about 5 years for them to line up like this. I think it happens every 4 or 5 years. And we reset everything. So that's the other blessing of having extra time or space on your hands. I know, parents are working it out with children, so they are getting more breaks than they've ever had. And, just things are shifting. And for those who may have been on the fence about a lot of things, I bet this has pushed them into some clarity,
Yeah.
If you were hesitating and on the fence about anything, you got clear, quick, fast, in a hurry right now. So that's where I wanted people focused. We have this life, death, life cycle. And that means we've already had a life. We're watching the death and the changeover, which is just the transformation. It's not really the end, but we're focused on that second life. So this, what rises up in the place, Phoenix from the ashes kind of thing. How do you want to carry on forward and what's important to you? Like, again, we can chop down some priorities. And we did a little exercise in the Venus Circle, I don't know, maybe 9 months ago, where I told everyone to flip your priorities. Take whatever's at the bottom, put it to the top,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever's been at the top, put it to the bottom, and just feel it. You ain't got to do it. You just put it on your list and reverse it and walk it through your consciousness to see where it leads and what it tells you about your priorities and about what's really important to you. And I feel like some of the things that humans, because we're in a crazy culture of work, 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 and no balance and no time to integrate what we're learning or picking up or receiving or gathering along the way, that's why I follow the wheel, because it allows me time for every single thing I need for the whole year. So I help people figure out their natural rhythm, and then you can dance with the social and collective better because you know who you are and you know where your elements are and what you need more of, like to supplement. If our body doesn't make a certain nutrient or vitamin or mineral or whatever, we have to get a supplement. So if our charts are lopsided or have a piece missing that would balance this out, a lot of people like myself, I have all earth, fire, and water with very little air. And then there's others that'll have, just any combo where it's imbalanced. So I know I have to supplement air. I have to lighten up. I have to think things through.
Yeah.
I have to breathe on purpose and deeply and rhythmically. I have to make myself do these things because they're not natural. They're not wired in. So I've learned, and when you forget, when you forget and you're not on it with your things. So then you're weak and you're snappy and you're,
Snappy,
it's not cool.
What's that? I am
Yeah.
just thinking about that once we, like, even now with this different pressure, right, that's happening,
Mm-hmm.
it's an opportunity not only as we go inward, but to really, that's where we can do a phone call too and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, I feel like something's off, but I can't quite tell. Can you look at that for me?
Right.
Or, hey, Kelly,
Second opinions are good.
something in
Absolutely.
my this way. You teach me how I can teach myself, right? And you do a
Mm-hmm.
great job of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're not creating a codependent relationship
Right.
with people. You're helping
Nope.
support them in a way so that they can know themselves better, right?
And giving them
And
ideas to play with, because sometimes you can't think when you're under pressure or afraid or
or when
scared or
something's
upset.
off. If your
Right.
hormones
And
are
something's off.
oh,
Hello.
like, yeah, right.
Yes.
You're like,
And I love Kathy Pagano, shout out, is she says that right now mother is in menopause.
yeah.
So she's going to
Yes,
take
she
these
is.
breaks and y'all just going to have to work it out.
That's right. Yeah. And that also
And,
is helping bring in the really divine feminine, right?
Yes.
And
And that's what's resetting, because that patriarchy doesn't
That's
work.
right.
It says it's a
Yeah.
death-oriented system. It's already killed itself. Let it go. Let's rise up in its place. How can we contain, nurture, protect our connection to the earth? Because that's the part that allows us to have that expansion of consciousness and experience of other realms and whatever, is because we're centered and aligned and connected inside. So this is part of having a body. I just always tell people, you don't want a body, then you can go ahead and live that way because you're neglecting your body completely. But the whole point of being on earth is to be in a body because all the other dimensions don't require a body. You know, it's only this one. So this is the one where we deal with what it's like to be confined and limited when you know you're unlimited, when you know you are limitless. You know, what does that feel like?
Yeah, it may be limiting and right and restrictive and sometimes, but it's also so freeing, and we get these tastes and textures and much between your toes, right? Like those things are right, you know.
Things, yes.
Yeah, grabbing the mint out of the garden and just chomping. It's like, oh, we get to experience this too, and when we really look at it from that perspective, it's also liberating, right? Right
now I'm loving all the music people love, you know, giving their music and doing all their streams and their mixes, and I'm loving that. But it was really interesting because my husband's a big sports guy, so sports is out the window, and the only time he ever had no sports and didn't care is when we were in Hawaii on the Big Island. And so we were totally immersed in this wonderful world, and he didn't care that it was playoff season. And so now this extended stay with no sports, he's realizing how much money, how much time, how much just wasted energy that doesn't bring anything back in, really. You know what I mean? So, and it's just that he's outgrown it. You know, my young son, my 23-year-old, he's going to be in sports for a while. But, you know, you outgrow it and you realize that you could be doing better things with your time. And then I laugh at him because his only excuse for keeping cable is for sports. I'm like, can we cancel the cable now? Can we cancel it? It's over, right?
It is.
I had 3 stereos and no TV in my house when he moved in. I was like, bring a TV because I don't do TV. Y'all think I don't like being on this screen. I don't like a screen looking at me either.
You know, you brought that up and it was interesting. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. I think, I don't know, the days are kind of blurring together, but I feel like
good morning. Yes.
Right?
They're going to break us at the calendar too. I love it because I ain't been on the toxic calendars for a while.
That's definitely already happening. And we were talking about football and how I think it was, I don't want to quote it, but I want to say the Patriots maybe in late November, early December, they were on different planes, and that wasn't just the other team because of being sick. I don't know if you remember that. Your husband probably would.
He would know.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, really, you guys, we've had bits of this being tossed at us for a little bit, right? If we were
Americans are definitely slow on the uptake.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you don't have legitimate people in charge, you know, and it's, you know, to be told unmasked. And that's my challenge with a lot of folks is there's leaders and followers. And so the followers and the people who are used to being told what to do, they're really hurting right now because they don't know what to do and they don't even know where to start. So I've just sort of opened it up in prayer, you know, let the people who are seeking find what they're looking for, but that, you know, there's a way to move forward for everyone if we're willing to change, if we're willing to adjust and adapt, which is what we're built for. You know, humans are very adaptable creatures.
I mean, things are going to change whether you want it to or not.
Thank you.
Right.
So you might as well co-create.
So take a deep breath and you know, do some breathing.
And pick your priority. You know, what's your priority?
The 1 to 10 priority and like reverse it. I've done something similar with people where, you know, if someone has a project like cleaning the garage, right? That's like, crap. That's like the worst project ever. Like that's that. And so I put it at number 10 instead of number 1, right? Or whatever. Put your hardest one at the bottom and then your easiest one at the top for 1 to 10 and do 8.
Right.
Do number 8 today. Right. And watch what happens. It just lightens you up. It's like you get that monkey off your back a little bit, right? Same with
action cures fear all the time. Action cures fear. Make a decision. You know, my indecisive babies are hurting too now. You know, there's a lot with Libra and Gemini and sometimes Aquarius, the air signs, you know, that are just too mental. You know, they're processors. So they're constantly processing the information that's coming in. So this can be overwhelming because there's a little too much information all at once because your body is responding, you know, just like Earth has changed on all this time really fast. We have too. We don't know how yet. We can't say for sure, but this will alter us as well.
I'm also really good in just, you, you guys do whatever you want with this, but if you feel like you need to connect to things, either like you use your husband, right? As a right as a
He's my news and weatherman. Or what do you mean?
He's your
Yeah,
news and weather
I
man.
don't do
Yeah.
news and weather, so
Yeah,
he has to
you're
tell
like,
me.
you tell me what a need to know basis.
Need to
And you
know.
well enough, right? And I've got a couple people in my life like that who will text me information, right? Or say, hey, you really should pay attention to this. I, however, also am really good at reading the collective. And so when something feels amiss, I'll go look, right?
Right.
Limit your time about the news or the information you're putting in, so that you can really go back into that center of your heart and work on that masculine and feminine and be more aligned to how that feels inside of you, right? So that you can discern what the information is and how it feels to you, because
that's it.
You'll know your own truth. You will. I mean, and you're now with how many cable channels are there? I don't even know. Right?
Countless.
Right? And with the access to, if you type in news, I think on your phone or your tablet, you could be inundated with how many. And so trust yourself or those close to you who can really discern truth the way that maybe you can process it, right?
Right. Totally. I've had to help people like that too. Yeah. Framing it different. We got to frame it another way for them to digest it. It's almost like, non-dairy people who can't process, or lactose intolerant, So this is, crazy. But what do we want to ask today? Because it is an initiation week, and it's so powerful that I'm going to also refer you back to my 2020 overview and my 2020 special alignments, because one of them is happening 4/4, which is Saturday. And it's a renewal of our consciousness. It's a rebirth of consciousness. We're awakening to something. What it is, is anyone's guess. But it's this next level of evolution that we have been consciously aware of. But again, it's hitting the body. It's getting literal. It's getting physical. So how do we deal with that? How do we work with that? And
so I'm gonna
I wasn't sure.
To a couple people that just came on. We were talking about that this is an initiation week, right?
New beginnings and amplified power. So where do we want to pour our focus?
And so if any of you have a suggestion or a question that you would want, of maybe we pull a card for it, or specifically to you, or whatever, just do a little quick shout out, because we would love the interaction here, right? And what question do you want to ask, Kelly?
Well, I actually, right before I sat down, thought about women who run with the wolves and what's the effect on our psyche right now? What is, what's that effect, or what do we need to be aware of, or what's evolving that we could co-create with, that we could help with, So let's see. I usually just hold the book to my heart. Well, then it hits the mic, sorry. And we just do a deep breath, and we ask my guides to guide me to that which can be translated for everyone, right? So something that is universal, that we all might be feeling at this time, that needs to be addressed. And how could we address it? Okay. This is really great, y'all. I can't say. It's the dual nature of women, and the power of two. So it's body and spirit, it's internal, external, but it's also honoring our dual nature, that we're not just worker bees either. We're not here to just work until we drop dead. It is a higher purpose for people. And there's lots of studies about people feeling that and living better, living longer, just because they have a sense of purpose and being here. So that is part of being here, is our dual nature. So let's see what she says. With folk stories, as with dreams, we can understand their contents subjectively. All the symbols portraying aspects of a single person's psyche, but we can also understand tales objectively. as they relate to conditions and relations in the outer world. What I just thought about was the duality of before and after. Yeah. That's what just hit me, was that's our dual thing. Like, and, oh my God. So anyway, and I opened to the Manawi tale, which I don't remember by heart, but I think it's about remembering names and how we name and claim things. And that draws them to us. So we don't want to be naming and claiming fears and phobias and death and destruction, right? Manawi tale lets us know more about terms of relationship between woman and her mate, keeping in mind that many times, as it is without, it also is within. So this story unravels the old secret about women, and it is this: to win the wildish woman's heart, a mate would understand her natural duality through and through, which my husband does, bless his heart. It's the only reason he's still here 28 years later. And there's a couple of folks in here. But yeah, getting a mate of any, male, female, whatever, your mate has to understand your dual nature is the bottom line. Although we could understand two women in a tale ethnologically as brides to be in a polygamous culture, from an archetypal perspective, this story speaks about the mystery of two powerful feminine forces within a single woman. The Manawi story contains all the essential facts for being close to the wildish woman. Through his faithful dog, he guesses the two names, the two natures of the feminine. He cannot win unless he solves this mystery, and he must use his own instinctual self, as symbolized by the dog, to accomplish it. So again, with connecting to intuition and instincts so that you can know what you're naming and claiming going forward. Anyone close to a woman is in fact in the presence of two women, an outer being and an internal creature. One who lives in the topside world and one who lives in the world not so easily seeable. The outer being lives by the light of day and is easily observed. She is often pragmatic, acculturated, and very human. The creature, however, often travels to the surface from far away, often appearing and then quickly disappearing, yet always leaving behind a feeling, something surprising, original, and knowing. Deep breath. Understanding this dual nature in women sometimes causes men and even women themselves to close their eyes and hail heaven for help. The paradox of women's twin nature is that when one side is more cool in feeling tone, the other side is more hot. When one side is more lingering and rich relationally, the other may be somewhat glacial. Often one side is more happy and elastic, while the other has a longing for I know not what. One may be sunny, while the other is bittersweet and wistful. These two women who are one are separate but conjoined elements which combine in the psyche in thousands of ways. So our dual is that we want to work and play. We want to, we have to take some of the past to apply for what we're doing here. Like I saw on Basmati that I just had never noticed, ancient something for modern health. What was it? Yeah. Ancient practices for modern health. For modern and health, that's, and so we're going, there's a lot of basics that are earth principles. They're basic earth principles that the natives that had lived with the land and through the land and understood the land did naturally and knew how to do. And so while that wisdom might be on its way to being lost, if we don't wake up, then
the cool part, I think, is what's happening is one, not only this pressure, but those seekers. I was just thinking about someone who's on here who I know, who I just met right before, actually, to give her some essences, some plant essences, right? And a few people on here have done this, like worked with the plants and planted gardens and make their own, like sourdough starters for bread, right?
Nice.
Like we've discussed
beautiful
before. And then you add in the components of people like Melissa or you, where you're tapping into the ancient wisdom of the planets, right? And the shamanic, the earth part of it. And
as above, so below.
And journeying, right? And bringing those pieces in. Those are all ancient wisdoms. Melissa with some of the Ayurveda stuff.
Ayurveda, yeah.
And the herbs that bringing in for pop flashes, right? Like, and they're like gone like that. But they're natural, and they're things you can plant in your own yard or your
you can't tell me women suffered like we suffer now with this hormone situation. I know they had plant medicine that worked.
Yeah,
I just don't know what it is.
Well, I know someone you can call. I might have a hookup that way for you.
There we go. That's the community. You know, we have resources. So even when you feel like you don't, you do.
You do. And sometimes it's that just sharing, just like that, right? It's
right.
It's not a big deal. We have hot flashes. That's part of this.
Thank you.
Experience.
I'm having one now. You can see me turning red.
I know you're turning red. It's like
I can't help it. So
no, it's all right. Like right. But in that, like, right? Yes, she'll actually help you. I knew she would. So
thank you.
But it's just like you coming into the meditations, right? On Monday night with this group of people just jumping right in and like I said before,
offer a piece
about chakras, right? And now they're like, oh wow, I'm taking showers, I'm aligning my chakras in my car on the way to the red line, right? You know? And
exactly.
Like, wow, all in just a little bit. We've got a bunch of people our same age here, Cal.
Thank you. That's all good. Thank you. Yeah. Welcome.
But how just with the the information that you share, right? I know you do that IG special, right? With the $25 off. It is, you are loaded with great information.
Oh, it's 2 for 1, basically. Yes. It's your cycles and patterns and a tarot reading together. And so it really will let you know where you're at for the year.
Absolutely. And you can go back to it. It's like a great reference.
If it's your birth chart, yes, totally.
Yeah, it's massive. You have that information, and then you add someone helping you make herbal tinctures for you because you're a little bit off, and maybe they know your dosha, right? And one of my other friends who was going to heat up her pool and thinking we could have a swim party early, this shut down, and I was just thinking, no, cold shower, cold splash, right? Because of the healing work for your body, right? And it's like we all come together because we all have a little piece to share. And I do believe that when we tap into that, and really the elders who have been walking the earth, and really the seekers, right? Who have collected this information.
That's right.
And are really wanting to share it right now. Now's the time, right? And it will.
It's now it will be. Yes.
That's
so prepare. And which piece is your piece, and which part of your dual nature do you have to deal with to survive, to honor both parts? Because that's what we've done in America very much, is we're either all work or all play. You know, like there doesn't seem to be any in between. And I think we'd be better off if we had a little more balance with that. And I think this is going to force that. And it's going to get people's brains thinking about, well, if I'm surviving now on less and less, how can I do this all the time? And then pour my resources that I do have into the things I really care about, you know, like whatever we want to do, praying that we can still travel in the future. Travel was number one for most people, you know, that we want to be able to do. So then it comes back to taking care of yourself, your immune system being strong, taking care of things for yourself, not looking to other people to help you with that. Then
I'm going to say that we all can use
moving
a little
around
more
gets
balance.
easier.
I had someone step in and say, you know, I need balance. And I want to say that, you know, you're definitely not alone. We all do, even as much as, because you or I could hibernate, right? Like,
Man.
And that's not balance.
And reset. No, but it can reset you if you want it to. But I'm by no means balanced over here.
No, you know what I'm saying? I like if someone has the chance to stay in that cave. I wasn't born in an area where my life path this time isn't to live in a cave, right? Right. And so if I did that, I wouldn't be in balance with myself, right?
Totally.
And I know that shut down
That
the
we.
fiery side of my personality when
Mm-hmm.
I try to be calm, because other people had tried to put me in this like mold when I was
Mm-hmm.
younger, right? That doesn't serve me well either,
Mm-mm.
right? Because I
Mm-mm.
have to
Right.
be able to express myself, and so knowing yourself is
That
huge,
helps.
right?
Yep.
And this creating the space for that. I am going to throw out there that if you know tendencies that you might have, whether it's addictive patterns and thought patterns or overconsumption of anything, alcohol, sugar, anything like that, be really mindful of it right now, because that can be triggered, and it's creating the space for you to really work with that in a way where you
Mm-hmm.
can release it because of what's
Mm-hmm.
coming, right?
Totally.
I mean, I
Right.
cracked up, Kelly. I was laughing. I'm like, okay, who knew? Well, in California, at least, I can say this: the restaurants, right? You know, it's all takeout,
Wow.
basically,
Wow.
not, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you used to not be able to like get a cocktail made to go,
Mm.
girlfriend. You
Now,
can,
oh my God,
yes. And I'm like, when did? Okay, I did
get
not know
out.
lawmakers could
It's
pass a
New
law
Orleans,
that
right?
fast, right?
That's
Like overnight. I was like, what?
wow. Oh
Wow,
my God.
right? And I'm like, wow, interesting, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
and it's also, and I only bring that up, I'm not judging it, just saying the patterns that we have, what our old coping mechanisms that we
Yes.
may have had in place, let's
Break
really
the
look at
realign.
those.
Break the
Yeah,
realign,
that's right.
because,
Yeah,
it's just like a broken bone where they have to break it again to get it to line up properly.
yeah,
We're getting a break, and what we come back to really is our choice.
that's right.
And it doesn't feel like that all the time, but it is. You're choosing in every moment with your consciousness and where you put your awareness, where you put your resources.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. Like the bundle, we're only selling that $99 bundle of 15 practitioners, all having different
yeah,
offerings to cope with right now. It was
that's
like
right.
unbelievable that we started it in November and it was released for this spring equinox that was just perfectly on time. So we're only doing it till April 3rd, but I have also offered people a free spring equinox reading from me if they
Yeah.
buy the bundle. So let me
So
know if
explain the
anyone's
bundle to
interested in
people.
that.
Explain the bundle to
The
people who
bundle is
maybe
the
don't
Wise
know.
Woman Collective. So you can go to
Wait, Kel.
wisewomancollective.com.
Something
Did I
happened
go
with the
away?
internet, so give 1 second. It's a little bit slow on the uptake real quick.
Okay.
How about now? Okay.
I,
I think so. Okay.
yeah. So with the Wise Woman Collective
Mm-hmm.
is a group of 15 practitioners. Most of us were certified earth medicine practitioners.
Yeah.
I'm the only astrologer, so I was kind of the odd one out, but everything is about basic tools, meditation. There's moon gardening, which I loved from Erin. She did a whole thing where you can garden by the sign of the moon. So all this gardening that we're about to be doing for ourselves, I tried it with my herbs and veggies for a little while, and I got some ideas of how I can do better. And just all of them offer something different. One is the grandmothers. There's Business Alchemy from Heather Dakota, which has really helped. And Heather Dakota is the one hosting the whole collective and helping organize it and taking all our techie questions and things. But it's just unreal. And we're going to do more. So it's not, but what I thought about was that these offerings are going to be good throughout the year. Because this year, think of spring equinox, which is basically when it blew up for us here in America. That is the signature of what you're going to be dealing with until fall.
That's right.
So let's say even if we stay down for April and everybody gets back to some kind of regularity in May, we're looking at June, July. Like it's still going to be different for some months.
It is.
Even, because there's going to be a lot of corrections and things that have to get done, that take time.
There's also planetary alignments that we discussed in the beginning, and I know I've looked at that are
strategically placed. Right,
yes,
right. They're strategically placed.
Well said, yeah.
Throughout the year.
Placed.
And
yeah.
not the least of which is our miracles. So I'm going to constantly remind you that this is a year of miracles. So for as hard and crazy as it may look and sound and feel at times, look for the miracle. Look for the outcome of something that wouldn't have been possible if we hadn't broken down this way. And it's always the case, even if we have a health challenge that takes us out, theoretically, if you have any sense, you come back stronger and you do better the next time. You don't let yourself get that far gone, let's say.
That's right.
In whatever direction it may be. So this is going to reset some things that give you the clean slate you need, which is what this week is about. is these new beginnings of new consciousness, of a new story you want to tell. Like, I'm asking a lot of people that. What story do you want to tell on the other side of this virus? Okay, the virus hit, and then I collapsed and died. You know, like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You got to tell a better story. So the story is, you know, it took me out for a minute, got me thinking. Okay, now you went kind of fuzzy.
Oh, sorry. Better?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're coming back. And I forgot what I was saying.
You, how you could either say that the virus is taking you out or not.
Oh, tell the story, a new story. What's the story after that? Yeah. Well, I started walking and doing yoga every day. I started doing more things for myself. I started getting under the sky, less TV. I started doing what I could. I wasn't taking it for granted anymore. Like, for me, I live 4 miles from the beach. If I don't go to the beach every single day, I get a little frustrated with myself because I'm like, it's too close, it's too easy, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
But it happens where this week is a busy week this week. I don't know when I'm going to get there, and we're down to one car. So that, the logistics aside, I try to go as often as I can because I know I'm not going to live here forever. And I know how special it is to live on an ocean. Like, that's just crazy, not possible for everyone to ever do, so it's been such a beautiful experience learning swamp nature and ocean nature and the waves, and I'm learning about the tides, and I've learned so much about nature in general just from being this close to it, and it's altered things that I can never go back. I can never, and I think that's going to be part of our story. We'll never go back to some of the bad habits because they're not worth it. And the minute you realize it, and they won't be available. Right. It won't be as easy. It won't be as easy.
That's right. Some of the things will be much more challenging to do that, right? And maybe do you have the other gift I was going to say is, we have technology is so great at this time, right? So this is also bringing us not only inward, but like you guys are doing that bundle.
Bringing together more. Right. A group activities.
Yeah. You're in a group with us on Monday nights, right? Where Melissa can teach about herbs and nutrition things or hormones or whatever thing she has up her sleeve that week, right? and we're learning new habits, daily habits that we can put into practice that are back to the simplicity of things if we choose.
Basics, yes.
Right?
And they make such a big difference. They make such a big difference. And that's the practice. Again, certain things aren't going to be good every day, every time. They're not going to be easy at first, but if you push past that discomfort, which is temporary, and that's the thing about habits. You have to replace unconscious habits with conscious practices. That's the deal. You'll never quit a bad habit without something to replace it with because your being is just wired that way. It wants to go and do this thing. So you got to give it something better. I've been doing that with food, just finding all kinds of substitutes. I'm a big mayonnaise girl, but I use avocado now. It's the same thing. It's just as good. I add my spices, and like we were talking about things that ran out. I was so crazy. All I cared about was spices because I thought whatever little bit of food I have, I want it to taste good. So I didn't want to.
I'm kind of that way. And as long as I've got a few things.
I can work some rice and, some beans and rice, but I got to have my spices. Yeah. So, it's really interesting how we're all going to adapt and we're going to come out of this different. We want to look for those positive changes and really push for them. Like, again, don't fall back asleep. Don't take it for granted. This is an opportunity disguised as a limitation. It's an opportunity for something, and it's customized for everyone. Again, it's kind of customized. If you were a workaholic, you get to slow down. If you were kind of, I won't say a bum, but laid back and didn't do anything, if you don't even have a job, it might be making you more creative about an income stream now. There's lots of creativity is what comes out of pressure. We're not creative if we're not under some kind of pressure. Yeah. And I'm not advocating pressure, but I'm saying there's catalysts and there's energy that needs to be expressed somehow.
There's pressure on us.
Right.
Not on you directly. That
basic gravity. Exactly.
Like we can pretend that that's not there, but that's also not living. That's not a reality.
Right. Not a reality.
If you're not personally pressured, someone who is.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Exactly. And that hurts your heart when you're a compassionate, feeling human being, right? Yeah. So that's what hurts the most for me right now is just watching my people suffer, and certain things that don't have to be as hard, we can being hard. You know, like my Virgo just gets really twisted over things that are so simple and people complicate them.
Yeah. And then
You
I can
know.
step back and also go, and you can do this too, is like, you know, they're just not ready to learn that yet. And so it's not their time, right?
That's it. That's what
It,
I've gotten to for
it's like
sure.
when little man was over, I think he was like 6 at the time. He knows not to throw toys, right, in the house, right? You put them in the toy box. And I threw something and he broke my hourglass. Now, I didn't really care.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever had an hourglass shatter. Not a pretty sight. Sand
No,
everywhere.
it's a mess.
Right? And it wasn't about the money or anything, but I made him pay for it and get a new one. Now the money's in a bank for him. I didn't keep it. But the fact is, oh wait, okay,
there was a consequence for his actions.
And of course that like broke my heart, right? But also I knew that if that didn't happen, he would continue to throw.
He would do it again.
Right. Boundaries are respecting other people's space,
property, right?
Yeah, and his own, right? His own.
And that's it.
And what he was trying to, you know, get by with versus actually doing what he needs.
Which we do as adults too.
That's right. We do totally. But I was like, wow, you know, that was harder for me to do, right? And so we don't want people suffer.
To be the responsible one and
and
have boundaries. And boundaries are what it's all about now. So we're learning what that means to us. You know, is this isolation helping or hurting? And some people it's you know, it's customized, you know. Yeah. So did we have any questions or cards we want to pull or animals we want to talk to?
I'm looking at the time when we can always go over to, I know that, but
if we're good, we're good.
Please ask it really quickly and we could always come back on. But also, Kelly's still doing her IG special. I know that. But I do want to ask you, Kel, is there a practice that you can, maybe a simple practice to help people tap into getting on the discerning outside of this, maybe what they want for the future? So it doesn't have to be super detailed, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I wanted to all of a sudden plant an herb garden and start selling you your spices and we bartered, right, or whatever, and why I want my story to be like on the other side of this, either health wise, whatever that is, we can get specific. But if you don't know, because it's hard to see through the clouds, right? Is there a practice you can do to help break that down for people in a simple steps, maybe?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that if you don't know what you want to do, you know, because you had a certain job and a certain, you know, routine that you had before this, that this has maybe totally canceled out and you can't even go back to the normal job. I would say, think about what you love to do as a young person. What were you passionate about and what gets you going? And, you know, you don't have to think about it from a young, if you can think of something now, but most of us were excited about various things. Like I was really into arts and crafts, but I didn't follow it through as a profession. But now in my older age, I find the crafts are really great for meditation and getting those ideas, those very ideas. It's kind of like giving your brain something else to do so that your heart can speak and your heart can come up and be open, you know? Yeah. So
you're totally
I love
talking
you.
Yeah.
And so we want to see what we really cared about. Like right now, I love all the music people that are doing their thing. That's what we would do. We would spend hours making mixes and we'd make them on cassette tapes or whatever we had. And and so I could spend hours doing that. So there's things that take you away that activate your imagination. Look for those kind of things right now. And talk to your soul. What are you missing? What is that missing ingredient that motivates you to get up and do anything in a day? Because my husband's going through this because he's worked at an airline all these years. And it's a great job and great benefits and everything else, but it isn't making his mind better.
Can we stop 1 second and come back on? You guys come back on in 1 minute because
we're about to click off.
Because I don't want it to cut off and I want to be able to save it. So we'll come right back on.
All right. We'll be right back. Hi. There you are. Okay, good. We're back.
You know, I was thinking about this, right? You're tapping back into music or playing my big drum that I have, right? It's so, even if you singing, right? And maybe
Right?
you think
Singing's for me.
I mean, I sound terrible, but I don't care, right? I do that. Paints, like taking paints and just
anything creative that unlocks your normal routine of thinking, you know, your normal way of going about things. That's why this shakeup is really good. You know, it's amazing that this disruption is, you know, what it's stirring up for folks. And so again, with it might be uncomfortable, but we can walk it through, because here's the thing, you know, I think we touched on this last week with me being an astrologer. Now there's a million astrologers. If I gave up because I'm just one of the million, then we wouldn't be here right now. So even if you think what you want to do is something that's already been done or already being done, it doesn't matter. Your take on it or your perspective or your little piece that you want to offer and bring to the table is going to be unique. And if you're passionate, then that passion comes through naturally, and people are naturally magnetized to it.
You are going to manifest the people in your life
right,
that want to hear they're ready to hear what you have to say now.
Right. All the time. And I can testify that that's true.
Had you not done it, maybe I'd be talking to another astrologer here, right? Maybe, right? Maybe. But the truth is, would you be in alignment with who you are and your true self?
No, because I was an administrative assistant. And if I was still working in somebody's office right now, I would be thinking about plan B right now. I would not be going back to my office. If this broke me of it, I wouldn't go back.
That's right. And you probably wouldn't be as smiley and connected to Earth or anything right now.
Because that's the hamster wheel. You're on the grind, and you're just you're exhausted from a life you don't love. You know, it's exhausting to not like your life. It makes you want to just shut down and take a nap. So it's baby steps, little things that get you going again. That's why the music is good. You know, hot baths for women is usually the trick. Cold showers, that's right. Give it a try, give it a go, give it a go. Yes, wake up, wake up, wake up. And that's the thing. We've been asleep in a lot of ways. We've been sleepwalking through our lives. That's unacceptable. We're in a zone of initiation this week that we really want to awaken to some new choices, and trust the new beginning will present the things that we need, the tools and anything else we need in terms of functioning, that we're not going to not be able to function on the other side. I did this. I took a little poll of my elders and was like, all right, y'all been here long enough to see this before. What do we do? And they said, you've got to watch the countries and how they rebound. China and Italy in particular, how they rebound is going to be important for us to watch, because we were so slow on adapting in the first place, and the CDC being crippled in the way it was. It's just, we're going to be slower to come back. It's going to be a slower healing process because we started later to try to get well. So that, again, is a mixed blessing. It's a mixed blessing. It's going to give you a little extra zone and a little extra cushion to play with, but then start playing, because God knows there's a YouTube for everything. There's people out there doing what you love, loving what you love, that want to be part of a community and do it together. You could buddy up right now with your people, whoever. There's 2 or 3 girlfriends, get together and say, we're going to shift this, whatever it may be, whether it's the diet or exercise or lifestyle in general, like books versus TV. Because that's what I told my husband. He's like, well, what would we do? Books and music. That's what we did before. We didn't do TV. We did books and music. So we can go back to that. They didn't burned all the books. So let's go back to basics in whatever way you can. And then look again with walking forward. What's going to be needed? Where do you want to help? Who do you want to support? What do you want to see come out of this? Do we want more urban gardeners? I do. You know, I think that should be every other block. I think every major city should have them. And I think a lot do. So there's ways that we can adapt and adjust coming back that are going to be baby steps and incrementally, you know, able to employ, you know, or implement. And so what are the baby steps? What are just changing your consciousness?
Book exchange in your area, right? Like I did that. I took a book to someone and I said, just bring it back, please. Like just so I can keep sharing or reshare. Because now bookstores, right? It's kind of hard to get them, right? Everything's on the device, and I like, I like the access.
I like a real book. I do too.
And the used bookstore near me is no longer in business, right?
Oh,
but
I know none of ours are either.
I have my own library, right? And so it's like, okay, let's play, let's exchange, right? Let's share.
Yes. And that's the truth of us. We all have what we need if we would share better and connect and really talk to each other and find out, what do you have? What do I have? That's how the collective, the Wise Woman Collective, came together. It's like, how many of you have something you really think the world needs right now? We all went into meditation to decide, what contribution we wanted to make. And you can always do that. Anyone can do that. You can just tap in and create your team of whatever it is you want. There's in any industry, music business is the same thing. You get your team, the people who are good at technology, the people who are good with people, the people who are good, with marketing and promotion and all that. So you just assemble your team, but figure out what you care about, because it won't work if you're just going for money, or if you're going for prestige or something superficial. If you're going for a truth, an authentic truth for yourself, that is what succeeds now. And it's part of this whole transparency, everybody being honest and being open, and it is what it is. So there's no more of like, you have to put on a front or dress up the storefront and make the store look really good, even though the products are sort of subpar. Now it's whatever you're bringing to the table. Let's just make it the best you can. Yeah. And for me, that's what's shifting, is I want to do more e-courses and downloads and things that you all can do on your own. But I also love the community. And so I'm about to launch 3 different circles probably at the same time, because there's a couple of monthly circles and the seasonal circle. That's right. And we're going to be able to gather around the Venus circle. Is going to be re-upping. I'm going to have a free introduction in April, 2-part introduction. So we'll talk about what the new Venus and Gemini cycle, which last time it happened was 2012. So the new cycle in April will introduce what to expect for the group, for everybody, and what to expect as individuals. That'll be the 2-parter. And then we launch in May. Awesome. So I'm still, like I said, all my intuition is saying, prepare for after this. What are the tools that people are going to need? Where are they going to want to go to figure their stuff out, Yeah. And that's what I help people do. I know you do an amazing job. Well, and also tapping into not only like currently, but pulling in the past, because time isn't real anyway, right? So the past, get the memo. And as we working it, stepping today. But how I know for me, I can feel the collective energies, a couple weeks to 3 weeks, right? And so yes, we can go ahead just as easily as we can go back. That's right. So people who are always looking backwards in the past, you can go to the future too. That's right. And my dreams, and they've been just like so incredible. I laughed. And Kathy Pagano's got a dream group. She's doing a free dream group. I got to tell you, you got to go, because I can't remember my dreams. Oh man, I am like, I always have been, but they have been. I was laughing because Melissa started that sleep contest or something. Right? I know, I'm failing miserably, but I'm trying. I'm like, girlfriend, I'm like have full blown visions right at night, or dreams, and I'm like, oh, forget sleep, right? Like, I'll take a nap. Yeah, I had a rough night last night. So then I wonder about the energies too, if that affects, I think there's some activities that happen overnight sometimes that stir things up for us. I think so. And so if any of you want a card drawn, say yes. I see the hello. We're back. We have time. We got time. And you can just have a feeling. You don't have to ask a statement. Just say, yes, I want one. And we can just tap into it from there. So we have the Zen, or the Native American, or the animals, or the goddesses. Ooh. Yeah. So let's see. If we're dealing with our dual nature, which is human and spirit, it is inner, outer, public, private. I was waiting for you to say I want one. So yes, who said I want one? So let's see. Do you care what deck they come from, or would you like us to pick goddess? The goddess. Yep. Okay. Good girl. All right. We love the goddess cards. I like them all. I'm looking at. I have a friend of mine that. She actually is an environmental consultant, but she also is an artist, and she does sculptures, right?
And the last one she made for me is beautiful Phoenix. It's absolutely stunning. And when you brought that up a little bit earlier, I was like, oh, it's on my meditation reg right now. It's awesome.
Okay, a goddess. Ooh, Medusa, which in this deck is a beautiful horse. So Medusa, let's see. When Medusa was slain, the winged horse Pegasus sprang from her blood. The Greeks portrayed Medusa as a horrifying gorgon, an ugly woman with snakes for hair, and anyone who looked at her face was turned to stone. Yet her name has the same root as medicine. Deep breath. Medicine and measure. And derives from the Greek word meaning to protect and to rule over. Medusa is a moon goddess, the triple-headed great goddess in her death aspect. She is associated with blood, so to meet her is to meet the mysteries of moon blood or menstrual blood, sacred and terrible. In many mythologies, the source of life. Medusa is serpent energy, enlivening, terrifying, and impersonal. Somehow Medusa, a symbol of growth and generation that dies so that from death may come life, became a symbol of fear. Somehow that happened. For to look directly upon the divine is to face a terrifying reality. Pegasus is instinct, wisdom, imagination, life force, and intuitive understanding. So, international chaos, instinct, wisdom, imagination, life force, and intuitive understanding. That one's for you.
Kind of right on path right here, right now, actually, too, with the timing of things, right? The death and rebirth cycle of where we're at.
And things are not what they seem. It may be seen horrifying, but it's medicine. It's going to give us something on the other side of it. That's the thing. This is not for nothing. That's the thing about the planets that are supporting us, is the miracles and the benefactors that are engaged this year, that even though it's hard, on the other side of it, we're going to be better off.
If we can look at this time period,
but we are.
Even that's absolutely right. Yeah. If we can look at this time period, and even the virus as our medicine, it could be really fascinating how we dive into that a little bit, right?
Well, and immune system. That's, everybody's responsible for their own immune system.
Energetic immune system and physical immune system.
Yes. It all counts. So we did make a honey, ginger, turmeric, garlic mix of a paste that we just can put in tea or whatever, and it's so good.
So yummy. I forgot to tell you, the creamy thing you did?
You made one?
Actually, one of my friends did, because she's making, I give her recipes and stuff, and she's making, she's retired and she's an artist, so she makes stuff all the time, right? And it's like a Marma cream, right? So
it was a body butter originally. Yeah, it was really thick. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's fantastic. So I paired that with, if I showed you all of the fun stuff, and it's like, this is right. She's making that out of love. I took dried lavender to her and some other things, and she infused it in these oils. So now I have these oils.
Nice.
It's super fun.
Yes.
And getting back to things that we could do right out of the yard, right? If you
work with what you've got.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We've all come to a certain level in a certain way, and we have some gifts that we can draw on. But what are they good for? What is this break good for? What is the interruption in the flow showing you that you wouldn't have seen if you kept going on the hamster wheel that way? And so let's maybe do an animal.
Okay.
See what animal support we have, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. And if you don't have an idea, maybe reach out to Kelly and get a reading, and make sure you tell her about the IG special, and that might help you in alignment with kind of more understanding who you are and where you are right now with the alignment that's happening, and use cards. Look for the signs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Asking the question invites the answer. So it's just really easy when you're wondering what is your purpose now on the other side of this. That's a big question. Where I ask, what is the lesson and purpose of this interruption? What is the lesson and purpose of anything that's going wrong in your life? There's always a lesson and purpose. So that's what we ask the cards for. So we got frog. Beautiful little froggy for fertility and new beginnings. So that's what these initiations are this week. So there's a cleansing. Think of how many people are going to get on their immune systems from now on, that are going to get on top of it and stick with it. So that is a beautiful thing. Ace of Ancients. Let's see. What do we got?
I love frogs.
I love frogs too. I have a hilarious story of being on the dock barefoot, and it was at sunset, so it was kind of twilight, and we're just blah, blah, blahing, and I don't even know where he came from, but a bullfrog as big as my hand latched on to my foot, and I was like kicking, and he wouldn't come off, and he would. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. It felt so wild, but I knew he wasn't going to hurt me, but still, I was like, you got to go.
Yeah.
But he did. He just landed out of nowhere, took over my foot. My husband was dying.
The
he was on the
initial
floor
shock
lying.
right there, too.
Yes.
That's
Oh, my God.
Awesome.
So frogs have a tremendous mythology and lore about them. They've been associated with the fairy realm and Egyptian goddesses and gods, Herod, Isis, and Osiris. To some people of the Amazon, frogs call the rains and influence the climate. So there's a deep breath. We're calling in all the blessings for that. In Europe, frogs are frequently associated with healing. Whenever frog appears, we are entering a time of new beginnings. Our creative energies are awakening, and it is time for a new birth and new starts. Frogs are amphibians, meaning they spend part of their life in the water and part on land. Here's our duality again, you know?
Yeah.
They are found everywhere within the world except Antarctica. All frogs go through metamorphosis, so we're going through that too. And their appearance reflects a time of transformation for us as well. From the eggs come tadpoles or polywogs. From the tadpoles come frogs. They go from being gill breathers, living within the water, and that to the polywog stage, to being lung breathers upon the land and the water, which is the frog stage. Because the polywog resembles the male spermatozoa, frogs are heralds of abundance and fertility on all levels. Their appearance can signal a possible birth or pregnancy for someone close to us. Frog heralds an ideal time to initiate new starts in business or a wonderful time to explore and seek out a new career, job, or way of life.
Well,
so we're all thinking about that. Yeah. I mean, even though I've got my career, it's going to change. So we want to be thinking ahead in that way. Like, what would we like to add to our repertoire? What have we always wanted to learn or be a part of or contribute to in a certain way? And the new beginnings, you know, is about exploring, and how many people are going to have to come up with new careers after this, you know, that their career became defunct all in one day, you know, like in an instant. Change happens. So there's an ideal time for new starts, which is also this week, y'all. I was thinking about it. We're still between the Aries new moon and the Libra full moon.
Yeah.
So our intentions and the initiations have to do with us as individuals, and we have to stay in that zone. So next week, we're actually gathering on the day of the super full moon in Libra, which is going to be about releasing relationships that no longer work. So that could be a relationship with food, or a relationship with a person, or a relationship with a job, you know, whatever it is. But Libra super full moon is going to give us a chance to release anything that's imbalanced or not working for us in that way.
New career.
So we're very supportive.
New career, job, and way of life. Amen.
Yes. Call it in. And think about what will be needed. What will be needed on the other side that we've never had before that now we're going to need. Like, really start thinking outside the box. The appearance of frog reflects maturity and transformation from the polywog stage into the frog stage. It is a beneficial time to hop into new areas of endeavors or to accept invitations and offers. So that was the other thing we've talked about throughout the year, is that the shift that's happening and then the retrogrades that are happening are reorganizing our foundation, our internal foundation, restabilizing who we are and what we want in so many ways, and getting us strong and anchored in our truth internally. Theoretically, that's what's going on. We're having this reset internally That is leading to things by the end of this year and all of 2021, major choices, decisions, opportunities, options that you've never had before. So in order to make those good decisions, we've got to be whole and centered and balanced in our bodies, mind, and spirits, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are going to hop into some new endeavors one way or another. Since frogs possess a very sensitive organ within their body, they are keenly attuned to sound, and the element of water is a tremendous conductor of sound vibrations. Their croaking is a means of attracting a mate. Frog has appeared. We should listen for new opportunities and know that our ability to persuade and influence people to participate in new beneficial endeavors is very great right now. Frog's appearance heralds an awakening of the unique and creative powers of your own voice. So when reversed, we look for the shadow. Outside of breeding season, frogs are solitary creatures, living around marshes, ponds, and damp woodlands and grasslands. As adults, they always remain semi-aquatic. When frog appears in reverse, the old waters we have been working and living in are likely becoming stagnant and dirty. It is time to clean them up. There may be something murky about what we are trying to initiate to, or with whom we are associating. Deep breath. A reversed frog can indicate a need to take a serious second look before initiating anything new or starting up with someone new. It does not mean to give up the possibility of change and new starts, but we may need to plan further before proceeding. Rather than starting now, it might be best to delay or temporarily cancel our endeavors. Well, check and check. We may need to re-examine offers from others, or perhaps solitary efforts would be more productive now than partnership or group efforts. So it's like, again, whatever we've been doing or not doing, that we need to bring in that counterbalance, whatever it is. So if I've been isolated all these years, I had plans for March, April, May in other states, making money, traveling all around the US. And that's on, now I'm back to online. And you know, it's not the end of the world, but it's a flip of my script right now. It's not what I planned to be doing this spring. And I'm having to get creative. So it's, you know, it's okay.
We all
but
are, right?
It might be telling me that I have to do more of my internal, my creative work as an individual, like the writing. I have a bunch of writing projects that have been on hold. And now I think I'm going to finally get to do them. So God is good. Questions to ask is the last thing. Are we ignoring opportunities? Are we mired in the mud of our daily or day-to-day life? Do we need to dive into some fresh waters? Yes, we all do. Are we becoming bogged down in emotions and not transforming them or transmuting them? You know, emotions are they're messengers. You know, your feelings and your moods are bringing you messages. They're talking to you about something. I'm not saying we have to honor every single one. I know some of them are a distraction, but some are really trying to commune with you. So when you're feeling something, you want to honor it like you would a child's feelings. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way, but what can we do about it? You know? So, and just being really kind to yourself. Are we becoming too mundane? Are we repeating old patterns and mistakes rather than moving on into new things? Are we resisting change and hesitant to use our own creative forces? No fear, people. We need whatever you got. If God put you here, you have a purpose, you have a reason, you have a gift.
And
we need it
now. We all need it. Like we
need
are
it
here to share, right? And that you know and trust.
And that's going to come out of this. There's going to be a lot more sharing. There's going to be a lot more things that we realize that we could recycle and that we could make last longer than we do. And not be such a throwaway society.
And one great thing that has happened, a couple of things actually, like some work relationship things have just dissolved, right? Because of all of this.
Ease and grace. All over.
And all good, right? Like
all good.
And one of my good friends in Montana, she's just definitely an elder. Like, she is amazing and plethora of a ton of knowledge, right? And she's doing these, can't wait, excited for the future. Well, it's right here, baby.
Right.
She started doing some yoga online, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remotely. And this is
Mm-hmm.
somebody who does not like literally like had to figure out Zoom, right? So, you know, going
Exactly.
back like a couple months,
Like
right?
me,
Yeah.
analog girl in a
Oh,
digital
but you
world.
have no idea. Like, yes, like, yes.
But we
Uh,
love her. She's trying.
and bless her. She's so, oh my God, she's awesome, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
in it, this was so fabulous. In the last, I think it was last Thursday, in one of the yoga videos she did, um, she's like, you know, let's go back to storytelling,
Yes.
right?
Oh
And
yeah.
so I grew up
Kathy
with,
Pagano, my
right?
queen storyteller.
Totally, yeah. I grew up with that, like all about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? By the campfire, with that, with live music, like my whole
Mm-hmm.
entire family. It was fantastic, right? As a matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
I was dreaming about last night about the first poem that I memorized with my grandfather. Six. I was
Wow.
6. It was the road less traveled by Robert Frost, right?
Mm-hmm.
To roadside version of Yellow Wood. I mean, I like love that poem. But
Yeah, I love it.
I'm thinking about that, right? And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to start a story time with kids remotely."
Yeah.
Right? And so
Yeah.
we've got kids all over that are part of this group. So she's reading these books and then asking them to become storytellers of their own life, their own
Yes.
experience, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
I'm like, "Ah, this is where technology is fantastic." And this, when I say, as
Yes.
someone who, I think she sent me the Zoom link like 7 times to put it on Facebook, like, and her daughter's helping her with it. She's like, I'm just learning, right? And
But
it was,
she's trying.
well, there was no
That's it.
time. It was like, this is a recurring thing. And I was like, well, like, right. But we're storytelling with children,
Yes. Yes.
right?
And that's the thing, to get back to your innocent child heart,
Yeah.
to figure out what you love, to figure out what's important to you, to figure out where you want to put your resources of time, energy, and money.
Yeah.
You know, we're still going to have these things, and life is going to go on. And, you know, it's kind of hard to kill humans. I've come to the conclusion.
That is.
So we're not going anywhere. I promise you. But it's going to be different. And we should call in what we want, not give in to the illusions and delusions of others, and not give in to the doom and gloom, because that's not what time it is.
No.
It really isn't. And I, you know, if I believed it, I would tell you. But I think that we're coming into our own in a way. And if the numbers move along well, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But if the bulk of people take up their own responsibility for individual, themselves, and do better in their own relationships and families, it's going to trickle out. But we can do this better, y'all. We can do this. We have enough energy and wisdom and technology to do all of this better. So
right.
What's going to be needed? Where's the support? What do you want to support? Like, I like solar and wind and other modes of energy. I want to support that. I don't want to support big oil, fossil fuel, fracking, and nonsense. I just don't want to dig in the earth anymore in that way, where we're just cracking her open and taking what we want and walking away, not even putting stuff back. So
I was thinking about this. It's like, okay, we have these local stores, right, that we like to support, right, where the organic farmers, like the farmers markets, are done, right? But I can order on Amazon.
They made ours a drive-through.
Oh.
They made it so you could drive by the farmer's market and pick up what you want.
I can still
and then go from there.
Organic produce delivered. But I was thinking about this here. The small shops that I like to support, right? They're not open. But I can order anything on Amazon right now. Right? And I'm like, well, that's not how, I'm not knocking it, like, but.
Right.
I
but not my thing.
Locally, right? And it's like, okay. Sometimes that might be a little more challenging. So guess what? Maybe I just don't need to buy anything right now. Right?
Thank you. Pause.
Right?
Exactly. Time out.
And so
exactly.
It's like deep breath and like, no, I do that, right? I do like that produce, but like, okay, we really like don't need.
We can do it another way,
and we can,
and that's what we're going to all learn. We're learning a few things,
and aligning
that we don't need
to what feels integrous to you and what you know to be true, right? It's like the storytelling. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it, right?
Yes, that's going to be fun. That's going to be so fun.
Totally fun. But aligning your energy and your energetic system and your the things that feel in alignment to you. And if you're struggling with what you think is on the other side of this, whether that's next week or tomorrow, or where your purpose or where you can be of service, when you start aligning at those things that are more integrous to you, and the shit starts falling away,
Yep.
you'll get a better idea of what that looks like for you, right? And you don't have
Yes.
to know all the answers, but ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look for the symbol because the universe will respond.
Mm-hmm.
When you pose that question, you'll start seeing things in different ways. I see billboards, I see license plates, I'll see a sign. I mean, there's, really are signs everywhere.
There really are.
So
Well,
if
just
you're
like,
open and you've invited the question, you put the question out there, you can do it.
yeah.
And choosing something, again, that is in alignment with you and what you really want to put your energy into, what you want to put your time into, because that's what's going to matter going forward, is where we can, expand and support a new way of being more balanced and more independent. As individuals, we should be able to do certain healings ourselves.
That's right.
And certain things to maintain our own individuality ourselves, and then come together in these communities and build something greater than we could do alone, right?
Yeah.
So we've been really blessed. And I love Frog for this week with the activations we have.
I do too.
Definitely check out the YouTube channel for any of the updates, my weekly forecast.
Yeah.
And yes, sovereignty is very important for us right now because we're telling the story. We're claiming the story right now. We're claiming what we're going to be moving into as we get to the other side of this. And it's so important to be positive and to see something greater coming out of this, because ultimately it's going to be wherever you align yourself in that way. And if you are under the weather and feeling low, this is even more time to cut back on non-essential.
Yeah.
And really ask, what does your system need? What is the main thing missing? There's all the modes of thought that, like with Louise Hay, you can heal your life. There are emotional things that manifest in our bodies that we have not dealt with, mental and emotional issues that we postpone and push aside, and then they manifest in our bodies. So very often excess weight is feeling like you need protection.
Mm-hmm.
If you are, constantly stressed and anxious, your nervous system is shot. It's going to be so hard to find balance if you're always on that kind of edge.
Yeah.
And so, again, everybody's customized. It's going to be whatever you've postponed the longest is going to be in your face the most. Whatever you have not addressed is going to be the main thing you got to deal with. Either deal with it or get it out of there.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. If you've put some things off so long, they don't even matter anymore. They don't even exist. Let it go.
That's right.
And ask the universe to bring in, because the universe abhors a vacuum. They don't, the universe is always creating, always filling in the space. So that's why we say, if you're holding on to an old man that ain't good for you, you're not going to get your divine partner unless you let go and create that void. And that goes for any relationship that's not working, friendships, families, whatever. As long as you're holding on to one way, you're blocking the blessing of what can come in that wants to come in, that might be better suited to here and now anyway.
Yeah.
So trusting yourself, even though you might have made some bad decisions, earning that trust back with yourself is a baby step process, taking a little bit at a time, changing one thing. You can't change it all today. And you're not going to have it all together on the other side of this. So pick one thing. Pick one thing that you can control, that you can adapt to and work with and play with until it feels good again.
And ask the people that you trust or that come into your life like this, right? Like asking for the card. Yes, I would love a card drawn. Perfect.
Yes.
That's awesome. And that not only was for you, right?
But for the group, right?
Right. That was for the collective group that's here right now, and the ripple effect of that. And so don't forget the power in that, right?
And I do get notes from everybody. That's true. They write me after the show and they're like, that was so on point. So it does happen where what you need to hear or what you need to see is presented right when you need it. And being open to those possibilities brings in the other miracles. And because it is a year of miracles, you want to sort of expect them. When, try to set your consciousness up to be surprised in a good way. Like, I'm pretty disgusted with American politics in general, but I'm trying to leave room, just a little room, to be surprised in a good way, that someone will step up with an idea that is doable for us, and that we will have better leadership in place on the backside. Like, all I can say is, broken system is a broken system. So everybody is scrambling to figure out what a new system would be or
and
would look like,
they
or
don't have
what's
an
that
idea
going to
what
be.
that looks like, right? And so,
No,
there is a miracle and magic in even that right now, right? Even
it's
if
going to
it's
take a
little
miracle.
bit, it is, and it may not happen overnight, but it's happening,
Right.
And that
But
I trust.
it's already in process.
Yes,
Yes,
I trust.
absolutely.
That I trust, right?
And so, yeah, just be as independent as you can. Call in your team of support, whether it's friends or family, or like we have our communities that I've been in this for 20 years.
Yes.
So I have a lot of people that have really walked this path with me since 1999, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And we support each other, and we do share medicine. We share the herbs and the crystals and the different medicines that if you need something, raise your hand. Sometimes it's easier than you think.
That's right.
You know,
just like in the earlier conversation talking about hot flashes, and I'm like, oh yeah, Melissa, she'll tell you some stuff, right? Easy. We just had the conversation actually in my driveway not that long ago,
right?
With one of my friends picking up stuff. Or the Marma cream you made for the face, right? Or the recipe you shared with everybody, and then I'm sharing it with a bunch of people, and we're doing lymphatic stuff with it, right?
Nice.
And it's like that right there is sharing and coming together, and that's why we're here, you guys.
And that's resources.
That's right.
You know, that's sharing resources, and that's what we're supposed to do anyway. So, learning how to do it.
Speaking of that, before I want you to give a shout out with your email address, but did you send out that resources email?
I did.
Okay, I'll have to check my junk mail because I did not.
It's on my blog too.
Okay,
so
I have a Kelly.
It's in both places.
I have a Kelly.
Yeah,
file, but
everybody should have a Kelly file.
Everyone should have a Kelly file. Yes,
everyone should have a Kelly file because I'm always sending so much stuff out.
And
so
and it's timeless. Really, some of it is marked in time.
Totally, you can circle back. You can totally circle back. Yeah. That was the point. There's some visual for you visual people. There's a really great video. Especially International Chaos, you need to look at that one. It's 50 minutes long. It's Soul Work the movie, and it's on my blog and like a week or two ago post, and it'll say resources in the subject line. But it was a one woman's story of how she built her enterprise, and she teaches yoga teachers how to do their own soul work so they're better yoga teachers. But she built an off-the-grid ashram permaculture farm that's totally self-sustainable. And so the whole story is visually stunning because it's Costa Rica, but it's also an inspiring story that if you think it, if you imagine it, you can go forward and create it somehow.
That's right.
And that there's a need for it. If you think that we need it, there's other people that think we need it too. No one's an island around here. So the visual thing, and then the chakras, like for those of you just learning about your chakras or your energy centers, we have more than the 7 or 9 we've talked about, but these are the primary ones in our systems that we know the most about, that we've worked with the longest, and that we can really see when certain things are out of place. It can be element related or it can be chakra related. And so just learning something new about your system that helps you remain in balance is what we're going for on the other side of this as well.
Yep. Yeah. And Kelly does a great chakra meditation. We did, multiple.
I put that on the YouTube channel too, everyone. So there's a video now.
Yeah.
So you can do breath work anytime. 5 minutes. And you reset your whole system.
Absolutely. And with this extra downtime, when you find yourself maybe going into that, stinking thinking, right? Or something like that.
Right.
Hit the YouTube channel and do the chakra meditation. Jump into cold shower for 1 minute, right?
Yep.
Go put your feet in the...
Wake it up.
Yeah. Put the hose over your head. I don't know, like something, right? Like just do something to shift it for a second and watch what happens, because it's pretty amazing, right?
Totally. Yep.
All right, Kelly.
And reach out. Kelly at Karmic Tools, and reach out anytime. And check the blog and the YouTube channels. Karmic Tools YouTube channel has all the updates and the energy and lots of freebies and things. I'm still doing the survey, so if you want a free reading, or if you want a free equinox reading, get the bundle for $99.
And she does the survey question, and I think she'll send out an email, right, in response to that, and that's a free reading. So, yeah, Kelly at Karmic Tools, and I'm going to check out the bundle.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, love.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, everyone. Thank you for being here. And hopping back on. Absolutely.
Almost 2 hours today.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Mama.
Melissa will never get this video done. I'm sorry, girl. I'm so sorry.
All right.
We'll do better next week.
Bye, everyone.
Peace and love.